a secret society that's been around since the 1930s that hunts demons and monsters. But as it turns out, they might actually be the ones being hunted this time. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Rapid Review. As you heard by that opening, I think I've got a pretty compelling book to talk to you guys about today. This happens to be the very first book that Bad Bug Media published, and it is called Black Jackets #1. This is written and created by Mike Tiener with art by Francesco Tomaselli and letters by Micah Myers. Again, if there's any of those names I didn't get right, please let me know in the comments so that I can make sure I get this right moving forward. Because a lot of this series is fixing to come out and the first volume is going to end, and I plan on coming back around and talking to you guys about everything that I've learned, because this one for me was just so good. I could not stop reading it. I wanted to finish reading 2 through 4, but I'm saving that. We've got a trip coming up soon, and I'm saving that good reading for while I'm on the trip. Anyways, enough of the here and there. Let's jump right into it. So, one of the coolest features of this book, they do a really good job of giving you this nice opening prologue where they give you the history of what originally was called the Half Past Nine Society that became known as the Black Jackets. They tell you all about the original people that created it, the main person who created it, and that after, I believe it was a brutal attack on his wife from some kind of a monster or demon, they basically changed what they do, and they basically started learning these different disciplines, which is one of the other cool things that they do. They tell you about all 4 of the disciplines that are used in the capturing of these monsters. They tell you why the symbol for that particular type of discipline is that particular animal. And then they give you a brief description of what they can and cannot do. So the 4 disciplines are engineering, demonology, alchemy, and sorcery. All cool stuff. If you're a big fan of this kind of thing, you are really, really, really going to dig what the series has to offer, I think. So after they do this, it's probably about a 2-3 page prologue, which is good. They give you a lot of info. It basically jumps right into the story, which is in 1994 Boston. So I can just feel my inner 90s kid screaming with this one. And I just want to play 90s music in the background. You know, Green Day, 311, Nirvana, you name it. Anyway, so the story opens with a priest running through Boston. And while he's doing this, he's running into people because he's in a panic, and he's praying to God. And he not really jumps. He comes into a church. And, of course, you hear him say, "Protect me." And as he's coming through, he gets like one of those little rope things wrapped around his leg, and he trips and falls. And here is where you meet the current generation of Black Jackets, which are Lynn, Elise, Evan, Jack, and Asa. Hopefully I say that right. And you see them, and they're there to figure out what exactly is going on with them. Elise happens to kneel down, and she's got these really cool goggles that are, I guess, helping her look at him. You hear her say dilated pupils, heart rate, this and that. And she tells you that he is not possessed by a normal demon, but a Vandergog. You learn, and they have Asa summon this little, I guess, kind of demon that describes to him what these various demons are and what you can do, I guess, to either kill them or capture them. And of course they tell them it's Vandergog. They say you can't kill it. All you can do is chop off its legs and avoid its stomach and capture it. So what ensues after this, they do basically like a bit of an exorcism. And the demon explodes out of this guy's body, and it's huge. Think of it as, and the way I would describe the look of this thing is probably like a weird giant alien head with a bunch of spider arms around it, and it is massive. And what ensues is probably one of the most hilarious yet really, really cool back and forth battle scenes while they're trying to do exactly what they were told, and it's figuring out how to chop off the legs and then get it caught into a net. And you basically have Lynn and Jack. Jack takes some, he calls it bruiser juice. The humor in this is utterly hilarious, and you can see them all going, "You're really not going to call it that?" He goes, "Maybe." And he turns into this big giant, kind of black looking strong dude. And he goes, "Jack is black, baby." For whatever reason, I found that utterly hilarious. So I'm laughing hysterically throughout this whole thing. But him and Lynn are kind of like having a competition as who can chop off the most legs. And while Jack might get a couple, he's completely reckless. And Lynn has a skith, and she is just with utter precision. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. You see Jack trying to be a big badass, and one of the things they were told is avoid the stomach, and Jack goes right for the stomach, and you can see them just go, one of them go, he never listens. He hits him and he goes flying out the window. But eventually they do get all the legs chopped off. They get them caught in this really, really cool net. And it's a bit like, you see Monster Hunters and a little bit of like Ghostbusters mixed in here with how cool some of this tech is. And I love it. So they get this thing captured and they bring it back to their headquarters. And they put it in, I guess, kind of like this alternate dimension type thing that they've got, again, similar to maybe like Ghostbusters. And they've got this doorway that's called a hexachrom. And it's at this point that you learn that 6 months prior to where this book begins, their parents went missing. But they don't know who took them or why they went missing, if it was something they did on their own. And you basically learn that Elise thinks that they went into the hexachrom, or they're in the hexachrom. But Evan, who's I guess kind of the leader of the group, says, well, if they did, we need to respect their wishes, because how many people do you know that have gone in there and come back? And of course, the answer is nobody ever has. So he thinks that if they went in there, they wanted to die. One of the big things that is alluded to during their battle that I completely forgot to mention, but mention it now, is the way the Vandergog was talking to him. It sounded like that he was looking for them specifically. So basically, like I said, maybe they were being hunted as much as they were hunting this demon. So I think that's kind of the premise of the entire story, at least for this first arc, is for whatever reason the monsters have targeted the Black Jackets and their parents were taken. At least that's what I think has happened. Like I said, I've got issues 2 through 4, so I will come back because issue 5 will be done soon. I'm going to check out this entire first arc, and I will probably let you know what I was right about, if anything, what I was wrong about. But this whole book was, for me, it's everything that I look for and enjoy in a comic. I love a lot of good action. I love amazing art. This is one of the best looking black and white books I've ever seen. Francesco did an amazing job with this. The inks in this are just, they are awesome. It was one of those where I never felt like I needed color to make the story better. Even when the magic was used and the spells and whatnot, I didn't go, man, that would look great if it was in color. Nah, it was that good. And to be able to tell a story like that, I'm finally understanding how important, when they talk about pencils and inks, how important that kind of stuff is, because you can have a book like this. And dare I say, like, you've heard me reference RWA as a black and white book. That's an amazing one. This one, man, I told Mike as much after I read it. I said, this is one of the most beautiful books I've ever seen when it comes to black and whites. And yeah, so enough of me gushing over that. It's great art. It had the humor. There was a good enough action, and then there's that underlining plot that's going to play out throughout, I think, this entire first arc. It's not one of those where it was a slow start. They very much jumped right into the story and gave you a lot right up front, which is one thing I can definitely credit a lot of bad bug books no matter who's writing, whether it's Mike, Scott Wilkie, and anybody else, they jump right into the story. It's not one of those where they take a lot of time to give you a huge amount of setup. They do the setup and the information while still giving you a lot of action, and I can appreciate that, because I don't like it when a story doesn't go anywhere. So if there's a compliment I can give, that's definitely one of them. Hopefully they take it as such. Anyways, so yeah, I am super excited to check out the rest of the series. We've got a lot of Bad Bug content coming. As you know, we finally unboxed our first of many Kickstarters that are coming this year. And all I can say is the more I read their catalog, the more excited I get for their growth and to see what they're going to become. Like they've just finished up a couple of other campaigns of more adult kind of erotic books, which is going to be a whole new direction from the stuff that I have read from them. And I'm excited for that. One of them is called Hypergeist. The art in that book, I wouldn't be surprised if that might end up being one of the best looking books that I've seen all year. This was one of those books, Black Jackets. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. We're going to have a lot more Bad Bug content coming. I will probably have another rapid review of another series of theirs called Dead End Moon, which is written by Scott Wilkie. And that'll actually kind of be my first taste of Scott's writing. But in talking with Scott, he's just one of the coolest dudes. And he's got one of those minds that is all over the place, and he can write literally anything. Just given that of what I saw from Dead End Moon, we've got Periwinkle that'll come later this year, which is another one. And just he's not one of those where he's stuck to writing one genre. He can do a lot of different things. So I'm excited to dive into that and talk to you guys about his writing style and what he has to offer and what that series has to offer, because that's another one where there's a lot of really cool stuff in just one issue, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. Anyways, if you liked what you saw, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know anytime we upload a new video. And as always, you please stay safe, stay healthy. I'll catch you guys next time. Later, everyone.